Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Sketchavist Sketch and Critique. And this week we're going to be having a look at Daniel Radcliffe. We'll be doing a little sketch, and then we'll do a critique for a little while, and then maybe do some more sketching. I also want to show and talk about digital versus traditional painting. And the pros and cons of each one. I talk about it quite a bit on the course as well, and you know, there's a lot of benefits to both. So I'm going to go show you some digital pieces that I've done with texture. So I'll just sort of zoom in. So that's quite textured. This is the Bogart I started on my first Hangout a few weeks ago. So it's not finished yet, but you know, there's still quite a lot of texture and not too much detail there, but still looks nice when you come out. Also, you know, compared to that, you know, if you've got a traditional painting like oil painting or acrylics, you've got an extra dimension. You've got that third dimension, and this is a painting of my daughter. And you know, what I love about oils is that, or traditional, is that you can see it from an angle, and you can see the light shining off the surface, and you can't get that with traditional. So you know, and if I did too much digital painting, I would miss that. I would get withdrawal symptoms. But on the same turn, it's, you know, digital is great if you're working in the editorial field, so publishing. You know, it can be better because you've got quick deadlines, or you've got short turnarounds, and the art directors want their piece yesterday, and you know, you just have to click send, and it's there. So it's the immediacy of digital that is really good, and you can still get, you know, nice textures and a sort of painterly feel to it. Well,
I can't really hear you. Oh.
Okay. Right, so that's, I just wanted to say that, and you know, if you've got any comments about on using digital painting versus traditional, because you know, there are some artists that work for publication and still work traditionally. You know, but there is the issue of not being able to compete with the digital artists in terms of those tighter deadlines. So I really like this reference of Daniel Radcliffe. You know, if you watch him in interviews, he's, you know, he can be quite cheeky, and his mannerisms are quite manic, and he's quite an interesting character to watch talking. So I just really like the expression of this. Strong chin. So, you know, as always, nothing set in stone. I'm just doodling, trying to get a feel for it. I think with the nose a bit smaller. And obviously the main point of exaggeration is the eyebrows. So I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with this yet. I don't know. Just trying to gauge the proportions. Chin protruding out. I'll just go a bit bigger with the eyebrows. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, then feel free to jot them down. So I think with the, you know, if those eyebrows shaded in a bit, I can kind of see where it's going to go. And the hair will be somewhere in between the drawing up there. So now I'm looking for connecting the anatomy of the neck and then the chin. And the point of connection, so it's there. So, you know, I established earlier where the back of the neck should go. And you've got a pretty long neck as well, so we can stretch that out a bit. So So that jutting chin. So this reference is quite good for showing the forms. So the lighting kind of helps you show where the planes of the face are, and you've got the anatomy of his cheek when he's smiling there. You've got a triangle there, and you've got another triangle there. So there's lots of sort of triangles building up that anatomy there. That's kind of what I look for. Oops. Back. When I sketch digitally, I never sort of sketch with having the sketch as a finished work of art in mind. It's always with the aim that I'm going to paint it. So in that way, I don't worry too much about my pencil strokes and getting everything really neat. And if I was working in pencil, I would rub out these guidelines and focus more on cross-hatching. Sketching digitally, it's always just a means to an end. And there's another difference between digital and traditional. It's more of a means to an end instead of creating a product in itself. So if you're going to translate that into the real world, if you were working for a publisher, for example, then or editorial magazine, then the end product is the magazine itself. So in that way, digital's ideal. You don't need the work itself to be a product unless you want to sell the original after it's been published. So if you're not aware already, there's a new website. I mentioned it last week. It's sketchavist.com, and all of these hangouts are going to be on there. And there's also a weekly competition. So I'd really love to see your work on there. This week's challenge is Will I Am. So if you're in the UK, he's produced, or he's helping present The Voice every week. And he's a really fun character, very quirky, but very shrewd as well, very sort of business-minded, and a really interesting face. So just pop over to sketchavist.com, and all the details of how to enter are on there. And have fun. Good luck. The anatomy of the chin with where the eyebrow stops. It's like there's a line going through there. So I tend to look for connections, things that hold all the exaggerations together. We won't forget that cleft in his chin. I actually got this reference when I did a search for women in black, and because to be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Harry Potter films, but if you haven't seen Women in Black, I highly recommend it, unless you're really scared of horror films. It scared the Jesus out of me. Really creepy film, but really good, really atmospheric, and good acting. And I think they're meant to be making a second one as well. I'm not sure. Get rid of the texture a bit. So what I might do with this one is I just want to take it a bit further in sketch form like this, and then just paint in colour over the top. So I'll create a new layer. I'll show you in a second. Let's just do this first. We can do it now. Okay, so
we have a comment from Phil Harvey.
okay, hello, Paul.
He's saying, "I love how you have squished his head. This is a very funny picture."
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, well, you know, the best way to get the exaggeration on the eyebrows is squish everything else. I mean, it helps you push the nose out a little bit. Okay, so we've got it on a new layer, so we can put a solid colour, a mid-tone colour, maybe on top, multiply, and then we can start painting a colour. I'm not going to get a particular palette, I'm just going to grab some tones. Oops, turn it off, multiply, or rather flatten. There you go. But I like the earthy tone of this background, so I'm using some of that. I'm kind of picking a mix of that to add to my skin tones, so that they're not too garish and warm. It's going to cool them down. So that background kind of becomes the base color of your palette. Right, try not to get the value of the highlights too bright. So I'm trying to control them a little bit. So we have an issue with this underneath his chin here. getting that to stand out from the background. So I'm just going to put some of that lighter value. Just to separate that out. And I don't mind if it goes a bit grey as well. It's I'm not using any new colour here. I'm just using the initial skin tone I've decided on, and the base colour. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible.
As well as asking a question, although I'm not sure if I understand it.
Okay.
Are you using the Alt key there to blend?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
you pick up color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you use the Alt. I'm holding down Alt, but you probably can't see it. So if you see that flashing up, then it means I'm picking a color. So I can pick that mid-tone or that shadow, or and also Control N. So if you want your color picker to come up, so you can get the a more exact color or tone, values up and down, color left and right. And then you can use that as well. So Control N. Sorry, N. That's not Control N. It's just N. My apologies. So yeah, N. Or is it in Photoshop? I think I changed that.
Oh,
Yeah.
to what?
Yeah, I think if you go into keyboard shortcuts, you can customize the keyboard shortcuts to, and you can change most things to how you want them.
Yeah, well, I've been using Thread recently. Totally.
To convert.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Chrysler is really good. I recommend Chrysler. But I don't know. I'm just I think I've probably just been using Photoshop too long, and I don't. There are a lot of things that Chrysler do. They're amazing, but I just wouldn't use them. Wouldn't need them because I tend to stick to one brush and.
You can still do it in Chrysler. I stick to 3 brushes basically right now.
Yeah.
Once I've gotten over all the new features that it offers, I'm basically sticking to the ones that I like.
Yeah, I might have another go.
It's free.
And it's free. Yeah,
it's free. It's amazing. It's a free product that is really, really good.
Yeah.
Way better than Painter, if you ask me.
Oh yeah.
Much better than Painter. It's just it's funny.
Yeah, I've tried Painter a few times, and I just can't get on with it. I can never seem to find the controls I want, or it never seems to do what I want it to do.
Well, I've been using a painter for years, but yeah, but there's always been some issues that I couldn't deal with, and now that I found Craig's, I feel so much better.
Mm. Find a tone for that background, maybe. Just trying to suggest those highlights in there at the moment. Not worry too much about them. And if I ever find a reference that's got a, a really black background, I'll try and avoid going too dark. Mainly because then you'll, well, firstly, it helps you judge the lightest part of his face, so the side that's hitting the, well, got the most light. It helps you judge those values better if you don't go too dark. If you go straight to black, then you're going to be struggling. Slightly I've just noticed I do something that I do with when I'm painting in oils, because I'm used to having a similar colour on the brush, and you don't want to waste paint. I look for other areas of the face that have the same tones, colour, value, whatever you want to call it, and so I've just found myself doing the same thing with a digital brush, even though there's no real paint there.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's hard to get out of those habits.
I'll probably have the problem the other way around if I start painting
How do you mean?
oils. Well, I'm used to just color picking whatever I want.
And having undo
and yeah.
Yeah, we're getting to these all these luxuries that digital gives us, which are great if we don't abuse them. You know, it's only a problem when we use all the things that a computer does to hide a lack of ability or drawing ability. I think the drawing ability is overrides everything.
Definitely. But then it's also depends how you actually define the abusing of the tool, because I know people who use the tool pretty well, and you can't even say or you know imagine which tools that are not really brushes they used, and they do amazing things. And there are people who just choose random tools and do a bad job.
Yeah,
you can see that it's not something that's been painted.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a very personal thing. It's a very good question.
Yeah,
it is a very good question, because there are a lot of. I mean, I think a lot of time I speak from my personal experience, and you know, for me, drawing caricatures and getting an eye for good exaggeration and structure, that can only come from picking up a pencil and sketching.
Yeah. Because if you think about it, there are people who will take, for instance, some photos and paint over them. But I'm not talking in terms of creating a caricature, which is still something totally different. You have to start with a sketch and go from there. But in terms of using a tool for painting or creating artwork, I know people who can turn random photos into a real painting. Like they paint over and they just use pieces of the painting as the photos to create something totally new and beautiful.
Yeah, but you can normally tell when that's been done.
Well, yes and no. I know people who I wouldn't be able to tell. They're just super professional and they do it every day. And there are people who will take one of the Photoshop brushes and start painting, and they will abuse it in terms of, for instance, using the soft brush to blend everything.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of. I think that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is that is when the end effect or the end result is has been lessened, or the quality is reduced. I think we're talking about just quality. You know, you can still have high quality end products, and it's been created using all the tricks that you can get from Photoshop. But you know, you can also have a good and bad product doing both ways. So it's all about the value of the end product, and not necessarily how you achieve it.
Yeah. Well, that takes years of training. Because from what I remember about me starting to paint, it was oh my god, I can do anything with this program. I can do patterns. I can do this and that, and.
But you still had to pick up a pencil and know how to draw.
You had to get over this and learn how to do it. And I remember that I thought my paintings were awesome and they didn't look digital, but it took a lot of learning and learning from others to actually get to where I am right now.
And getting feedback and
yeah. Well, you have to open up to people criticizing your work. This is very important.
Yep.
Because you
Absolutely.
can. Yeah, I was in a stage where I couldn't take any criticism. I was like, I'm great. I'm doing awesome things, and no one should tell me anything about it. But people were being mean, which wasn't true. They were actually very, very true, very right about what they were saying.
Yeah, I think that accepting the feedback is the first step.
Yeah, getting better.
And yeah, absolutely. I think we should do a critique. I've got getting carried away. This is Daniel. I was going to say Daniel Craig then. It's Daniel Radcliffe.
Harry Potter.
That's the Potter.
Harry Potter.
Right. A TIFF file. TIFF files, by the way, don't compress, or you can save them uncompressed. If you save as JPEGs all the time, you're constantly saving, you're compressing it all the time, so the quality is going to reduce. It's something it took me a couple of years of painting digitally to find that out, and wondered why the quality was going down as I was saving.
So you're not using PSD files?
You can use PSD. I just use TIFF. Yeah, I suppose PSD does the same thing. Yeah.
Because you don't really paint in layers. You
No,
pretty much stick to one layer.
No, I hate layers, because then it's not. I'm not having an oil painting experience. You know, it's so I'm just painting again.
Yeah.
I can't stop painting. Right. Yeah. So the critique submission this week is from Ian Lloyd. So thank you, Ian, if you're watching. He submitted Miley Cyrus a couple of weeks ago, and let's close this.
Oh, she's pretty.
She's pretty strange.
Pretty strange.
Yeah, she's an interesting character.
Very much so.
Yes. She likes the controversy. And you know, she's done very well on it, so why not?
She's definitely succeeding.
Yeah. Like that. Okay, so the first thing I noticed about this is the exaggeration is harming the likeness a bit. I think you know, you can tell that it's Miley Cyrus because of you know, you've got the hair, there are distinguishing elements that you will know it's Miley Cyrus. But in terms of likeness and the head shape, I think it could have been approached differently. So let's. I'm just going to draw over the top of this and just give you an idea of just the exaggeration choices to start with. Because it's been lengthened that way, the main exaggeration direction for me is pushing her eyes that way and sort of exaggerating that sort of heart shape, head shape. So you would probably start with the neckline going there, the head would come here. Oops. So that was come to there. So the eyes would be sort of here. And it's not a bad reference in terms of seeing the shapes, but and also you can then flatten out the head as well. So these would be more there and there. So the hairline would be down here. So the initial exaggeration choice is all important, and you have to analyse other photos as well. So I look for some photos of her face on as well. There. And then the next decision is, how do we place the features within that head shape? So that's the back of the head. So the ear would probably stay in the same place. So we'd still be exaggerating the mouth. It's just we were losing likeness in the rest of the face. And the eyes need to be smaller as well. Maybe a little bit closer together. And probably go bigger with the mouth as well. You can bring the mouth up to there. And make the nose smaller. So the nose will be there. So she's kind of got this leaning over, manic screaming expression. And you could have some drool coming off there, and or something dribbling down there. You could make it really disgusting, and you can play with it a bit. It can turn quite nasty. But yeah, you can let your imagination fly with that.
I don't think she would mind.
No, she wouldn't care. She'd probably enjoy it.
The person who didn't take it personally.
She'd like it. Yeah, she's got issues.
Yeah. We have a question.
Sure.
Well, I'm kind of translating it because it's in Spanish. What kind of a tablet do you use?
I nothing fancy. I just use the bamboo. So it's a Wacom bamboo, and that's it. As long as there's a level of pressure sensitivity, then it really doesn't matter what you use. It's how you use it.
Yeah, basically the tool. If you don't mind.
Yeah. No, well, no. I kind of want to finish what I was going to say. Because I also paint on my phone as well. I've got a Galaxy Note 3, and I'm going to be sharing a video of soon when I finish it of something I painted on there, and you can get the same level of quality and you can do brush strokes on a really small device. And this is a handheld phone, and it's it doesn't have to be sort of brushy or painterly either. You can get some pretty detailed work on it. So it really isn't about the tool.
No, it's not.
What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that some people make a mistake of thinking that the more expensive tool. I mean, it is true to some extent, but like for instance, if you can't really paint too well yet on into a sort of bamboo, then I don't know. What else is there? I totally forgot the Wacom. The one that is a screen.
Cintiq.
Cintiq. Oh, almighty, I forgot the name.
But
Cintiq is not going to make you a better artist.
Exactly.
might help a little bit, just because it's. But there are people who don't like it. Who don't like the feeling of painting on screen.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I mean, that in terms of the critique, that's probably as far as I can take it without sort of taking it too much into detail. But yeah, I was taught at school, was saying a bad workman or a bad artist blames his tools. So in the same way, a bad artist will blame their brushes.
Well, again, you can't use the cheapest tools.
Yeah.
I used to, before I got my tools, I used to work on trust tablets, which weren't so bad, but to be honest, the difference between one and the other is just uncomparable. So maybe it's a company that Wacom is really.
Yeah, I think Wacom called the market.
Wacom. Really.
So that's hopefully that's helped, Ian, and hope you found that useful. I'll probably move the teeth out there a bit as well. So, but you know, that's the general gist of it. So that was. And we've got a few more minutes, so.
4.
Sorry?
4.
4 minutes. So just do a bit more of this. So to get the teeth colour, I'm getting that base green or browny green. It's kind of an ochre, and just adjusting it slightly. And you can go darker and lighter from there. And that's all in the rendering.
We have a comment from Ian.
Okay. Yeah,
he says, "Hey, thanks, Paul. I really like the new neckline. Works much better. So I guess be careful with the weight of features." That's the question of the last one.
But
so I guess
careful with the weight
of the features.
Yeah, it's more the weight of the exaggeration. So it was the eye line was where the weight was, rather than a big mouth. It's kind of a tongue sticking out is a bit of a red herring. So it's easy to focus the exaggeration just on that. Yeah, it can be exaggerated, but it's in terms of head shape and likeness, the weight was more sort of around the eye line.
Phil has a question. Aside from the handy Photoshop features, is your process similar to how you would approach an alla prima painting?
Yeah, well, pretty much. I mean, alla prima just means wet on wet, so you just keep putting on the paint. But you can still, depending on what colours you're using, you can still paint more detail into an alla prima oil painting. Obviously you can't do alla prima in digital because there is no wet. It's it is what it is. I've forgotten what I was going to say. It's gone. I think we've run out of time actually.
Okay.
So yeah, time is up. So it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed that and got some benefit from it. Remember the contest at sketchavist.com, and look forward to seeing your entries and have fun.
Oh, there's a group on Facebook as well.
And group on Facebook. So you just search for Sketchavist, and it should come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you next week. Bye.